Most people think phobias are just silly little fears, like being afraid of spiders or heights, but some phobias get weird. Fear of mirrors, fear of long words, even fear of pigeons. For millions, these fears are no joke. They can hijack your brain, trigger real panic, and quietly shape your life in ways you don't even notice. So, let's break down 15 of the world's strangest and most common phobias and peek inside your brain to see what's going on. Arachnophobia. Arachnophobia is the fear of spiders, and it's one of the most common phobias worldwide. Your logical brain might know that little spider can't hurt you, but your amygdala, the fear center, says otherwise. Even tiny house spiders can send people into full panic mode, sweaty palms, racing heart, and a frantic need to run away. This fear often starts in childhood, sometimes from seeing others freak out over spiders. The good news? Gradual exposure therapy, gently seeing or imagining spiders in safe settings, can help retrain your brain. Remember, most spiders are harmless and they secretly help by eating pests. Claustrophobia. Claustrophobia is the fear of tight spaces. Elevators, tunnels, crowded buses, or even an MRI machine can trigger it. Your brain's alarm system flips on when you feel trapped, even if you're perfectly safe. The roots of claustrophobia vary. Sometimes it's tied to an experience of being stuck or feeling smothered. This fear can lead to panic attacks, dizziness, breathlessness, pounding heart. One trick? Gradual exposure to smaller spaces, plus deep breathing and grounding exercises. Over time, cognitive behavioral therapy can help teach your brain to see these spaces as safe. You're not alone. Plenty of people quietly share this fear. Acrophobia. Acrophobia is the fear of heights. It's not just looking over a skyscraper balcony. Sometimes even standing on a ladder can feel like facing certain doom. Your brain overestimates danger, flooding you with adrenaline, dizziness, or jelly legs. Evolution plays a role. Fear of falling is built in to keep us safe. But when that fear takes over daily life, like avoiding bridges or top floors, it becomes limiting. The fix? Gradual exposure works wonders. Start small, like climbing a step stool, then work up. Mindful breathing, safety checks, and therapy can help convince your brain, we're safe up here. Agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is more than just fear of open spaces. It's fear of places where escape might feel hard or embarrassing. For some, it's busy malls or stadiums. For others, it's leaving home at all. Often, it's linked to panic disorder. After having panic attacks in public, your brain tries to protect you by avoiding similar situations. The downside? Life shrinks. But recovery is real. Therapy, especially CBT, and slow, supported exposure help retrain the brain's fear response. Some people use grounding techniques or carry a trusted friend for backup. Agoraphobia is powerful, but step by step, you can reclaim your freedom. Social phobia. Social phobia, or social anxiety disorder, makes everyday interactions feel terrifying. It's not just shyness. Your brain goes into overdrive worrying about being judged, embarrassed, or saying the wrong thing. Speaking in public, eating in front of others, or even small talk can feel impossible. This fear often kicks in during the teen years. The brain's amygdala fires off false alarms, flooding you with adrenaline and self-doubt. The good news? Social anxiety responds well to CBT, exposure, and sometimes medication. Practicing social skills in low-pressure settings can slowly dial down the fear. It's treatable, and you're not alone. Genophobia, heterophobia. Fear of the opposite sex, known as genophobia or sometimes heterophobia, can deeply affect relationships and dating life. It's more than awkwardness. It's an intense fear or discomfort around intimacy or just interacting with people of the opposite gender. This can stem from past trauma, cultural messages, or anxiety about rejection or judgment. The brain's fear circuitry labels the situation as dangerous, triggering avoidance. Over time, this can isolate someone emotionally. Healing is possible through therapy, especially trauma-focused work and gradual exposure. Learning healthy boundaries, communication, and trust rebuilds confidence. Remember, you deserve safe, healthy connections. Spectrophobia. Spectrophobia, fear of mirrors, might sound unusual, but it's real. People with this phobia feel deep discomfort or fear when seeing their own reflection. Sometimes it's linked to superstitions, horror stories, or traumatic moments tied to mirrors. For others, it's about body image, avoiding reflections that spark shame or anxiety. The brain perceives the mirror as something threatening or eerie, feeding intrusive thoughts. People might cover mirrors at night or avoid them altogether. Gradual exposure, CBT, and reframing beliefs help. In gentle steps, you can teach your brain that your reflection isn't an enemy, it's just you. Telephonophobia. Telephonophobia is the fear of making or receiving phone calls. It's more than not liking calls. The phone's ring can spike your anxiety instantly. You might fear saying the wrong thing, awkward silences, or judgment. This is common for people with social anxiety, but anyone can feel it. The brain treats that ringtone as a threat, flooding you with adrenaline. Many people text instead, but avoiding calls can limit opportunities and connection. Facing this fear means starting small. Practice calls with friends, write scripts, or role-play scenarios. With practice, phone calls can go from panic fuel to just another task. Macrophobia. Macrophobia is the fear of waiting. Yes, really. Standing in line, waiting for a reply, or sitting in a waiting room can trigger intense stress. Some people with severe macrophobia even feel so overwhelmed by the idea of waiting that they vomit if they see people standing in line. The brain sees the gap of uncertainty as danger, craving control and quick answers. It's often linked to perfectionism and impatience. But life involves waiting. Coping means practicing mindfulness, steady breathing, or grounding techniques to stay calm. Cognitive behavioral therapy can help reframe the dread. Bit by bit, you teach your brain that waiting isn't danger, it's just life happening. Dromophobia. Dromophobia is the fear of crossing streets. Busy intersections can feel like battlegrounds. Cars zoom by, lights change, and your brain yells, danger. Sometimes it's triggered by witnessing or experiencing an accident. The brain remembers that trauma and flips into fight or flight at crosswalks. This fear can limit daily life, avoiding errands, work, or social plans. Small steps help. Start with quiet streets. Bring a friend or use exposure exercises. CBT can break the mental link between crossing and danger. You're not silly or weak. Your brain just needs help recalibrating. With time, streets become paths, not obstacles. Hippopotamonstros squipe Dailyophobia. Ironically, hippopotamonstros squipe Dailyophobia is the fear of long words, and it's one of the longest words in English. People with this phobia panic when they see or try to say big, complicated words. It might start in childhood, often from teasing or embarrassment over pronunciation. Reading out loud, spelling bees, or speeches can trigger dread. The brain ties long words to shame and social judgment. Coping involves practicing speech skills, reframing negative memories, and gentle exposure. You don't have to memorize dictionaries. You just learn to face words one syllable at a time. Every word mastered shrinks the fear. Autodisomophobia. Autodisomophobia is the fear of your own body odor. It's a specific phobia where your brain constantly worries that you smell bad, even when you don't. This can lead to excessive showering, avoiding closed spaces, or anxiety about social rejection. It's tied to social anxiety and sometimes OCD. The brain fixates on potential embarrassment. Reassurance helps, but CBT works best. It retrains your brain to stop false alarms about smell. Gradual exposure, relaxation, and support can ease the obsession. You're not gross, you're just human. Everyone smells human, and that's okay. Paristerophobia. Paristerophobia is the fear of pigeons. Yes, those common city birds. For some, flapping wings, sudden movements, or swarming flocks trigger panic. This fear can stem from a bad childhood experience, like being chased by pigeons in the park, or just feeling out of control near birds. The brain files pigeons under unpredictable threat. Avoiding parks or city squares is common, but you can shrink the fear. Gradual exposure helps. Observing pigeons from afar, then closer, then maybe feeding them with a friend nearby. Over time, your brain learns. Pigeons aren't enemies. They're just birds doing bird things. Electrophobia. Electrophobia is the fear of chickens. Yes, chickens. It might sound funny, but for people who have it, it's very real. Chickens peck, flap, and can feel unpredictable. Your brain reads that as danger. Some people develop this fear from childhood encounters, farm experiences, or even horror stories. The brain's fear center, the amygdala, holds onto that memory and says, nope, not safe. Avoiding farms, zoos, or even pictures of chickens is common. Gradual exposure works here too. Maybe watching videos, visiting a farm from a distance, or meeting a very calm chicken with support. Step by step, fear loses its feathers. Tripophobia. Tripophobia is the fear of small clusters of holes or bumps, like lotus pods, honeycombs, or certain patterns. It's not officially classified as a phobia in all medical books, but it's incredibly common. Seeing these patterns can make your skin crawl, cause nausea, or even spark panic. Scientists think this reaction might be tied to the brain's association with disease or parasites, ancient survival wiring. Social media has made it more known but also more triggering. Coping means limiting exposure, learning calming techniques, and remembering that the pattern itself is harmless. Your brain's trying to protect you, but it sometimes overreacts. Phobias might sound strange, but they're proof that the brain just wants to protect you, even if it overreacts. The good news? Fears can shrink. With the right help, like exposure therapy or cognitive behavioral therapy, you can train your brain to stay calm. So, what's the weirdest fear you've ever heard of? Drop it in the comments, hit like, and subscribe for more mind-opening videos like this. You're braver than you think. Better brain days.